All right, everybody, welcome. Markets, big sell-off in the markets yesterday. And we'll talk a little bit, and Friday as well. I think, again, it's dog days of summer, end of August. Volume's very, very light. When you get to situations like this, some of these computerized traders and some of the algorithms, when momentum starts going in one direction and you're not going to get much of a pushback, it's what happens. It does. Again, take a look at the news. Is anything happening out there at all? Anything at all? The big story of the week, and again, it's what the media does. They have to come up with an explanation. Is that it's all because the members of the Fed, they're meeting in Jackson Hole, and are they going to be hawkish? Or are they going to be dovish? Come on. Okay, enough. All right, markets have come up quite a bit, due for a bit of a sell-off. No big deal. And if you actually take a look at some of the economic numbers that have been coming out as of late, they haven't been that great. And I would put them on a bit of a deflationary front. When you're taking a look at today, you had the manufacturing index much weaker than expected. Private sector, you're backing off to some degree. Again, this is what we expected to happen. And I would kind of look at it from a different perspective as well than what the general narratives are. We've talked about this, and we all understand that inflation is just without a doubt. The Fed printing too much money, you fly a helicopter over the country and you drop it like we did over a 2-year period of time, and then some. What did you think was going to happen? However, it's not just there. And I've spent a lot of time on the radio shows talking about this. It's a supply issue too. It's a supply issue. Now, when you go to the grocery store, and you look at a box of cereal, and you notice that box of cereal has gone up precipitously in price over the past year. Eggs, it doesn't matter, whatever it may be. Is it because that many more people are eating cereal, or that many more people eating eggs, or whatever it might be? No, I don't think that that's the case. What we're dealing with, obviously, is supply issues. And obviously, we've got input costs that go into certain things. It's interesting. You take a look at natural gas prices right now, they've skyrocketed. Vladimir Putin is, again, he's holding Europe a bit, again, they called it blackmail, whatever it may be. It is what it is. I mean, Europe put itself in this position. They did. They're the ones that decided to go with Angela Merkel, and we're going to go all in on Gazprom and Vladimir Putin and Gerhard Schroeder, who works for Gazprom, who used to be the prime minister. How'd that work out? It's your own fault. Okay, I'm getting a little tired. Yeah, it was Wall Street Journal today. Russia's blackmailing Europe. That they got some supposed maintenance on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline. Again, they're saying it's a fugazi. It's not real. Okay. But again, you wouldn't be in this position if you didn't rely upon the guy. You didn't put all your eggs in one basket. I get it. I'm not making excuses for Vlad by any stretch of the imagination, but don't tell me that this crap is not self-inflicted. It is. So yeah, they were talking about this yesterday. There was some economist saying because of the energy costs, UK inflation could go above 18%. There's going to be issues. There's going to be riots. They're going to have a lot of civil unrest in Europe this winter unless they can get their act together. Again, one of the reasons why our natural gas prices are so high is, again, we're diverting a lot of it over to Europe. That's why. I almost threw up in my mouth. I got my oil bill. Yes, I had to fill up my oil tank. We don't have natural gas where I am, but it really doesn't make any difference if you compare whether you have oil that's heating your house and your hot water, or it's natural gas. Doesn't make any difference. They're equally through the roof. very, very expensive. These are all input costs. These are things that are hurting inflation. This is all self-inflicted on our part. We did this to ourselves. Now, talk about inflation. Okay, let's just say, the Fed raises by 100 basis points, goes more hawkish. And again, that would most certainly send the markets into a tailspin for a period of time. Is that going to solve our input cost problem? Is it going to help solve our supply issues? No. I was reading a story today. It was alluding to some of the things that we're talking about. Again, it's almost like an echo chamber piece of what we go over here on the program. I guess there's one modular nuclear reactor. We talked about these as the small reactors that has been approved, and the testing is not going to start until 2030. We're behind 8 ball. Oh, I know they're putting windmills off the coast of Virginia. They are. What happens when the wind doesn't blow? You tell me. You're gonna have to fire up the diesel generators. It's funny. I've mentioned this before. They have windmills on top of several peaks in some of the islands in Greece that I was at, and these are islands where the wind blows quite often. I mean, it's very, very breezy there in the Mediterranean, especially in the summertime. For the life of me, okay, there might be 4 of them up there. 2 may be spinning, 2 are not. And I'm saying to myself, why are those other 2 not spinning? I mean, one would think if it's, it's so important to generate electricity and let's say they're broken, you might want to go and fix them, right? Yeah, I think it's more about virtue signaling in many respects than anything else. But anyway, no matter what the Fed's going to do, they can't do anything when it comes to supply side nonsense that we're dealing with now and the input costs. We've done a lot of things wrong, in my opinion, in how we've gone about handling how we get food from the farms to our table, and the FDA and regulations and all of these things. And quite frankly, we could really use to improve that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this Twitter exec coming out. This is a guy he was laid off. He was fired. He was he was basically a guy that was in charge of security over at Twitter, and he's actually using various whistleblower group to defend him in this case, saying some really shocking things when it comes to Twitter and national security concerns and information and bots and all of this stuff. And I know a lot of people are thinking that Musk put him up for this. No, he was doing this before Musk decided to buy Twitter, and I guess a lot of this information has been sent off to Congress as well. This is going to change the dynamic to some degree in regards to this case between Musk and Twitter, because Elon Musk has subpoenaed this gentleman. So it's interesting. He did an interview today with CNN. We're going to see what happens with that. Again, I mentioned talking about Russia blackmailing Europe. Endless demand spurs U.S. natural gas prices to shale era highs. No shock there. This is interesting as well, too. And again, for the longest period of time, Angela Merkel was, the world's leader. Why can't Trump be more like Angela Merkel? Oh, yes. And they all cozied up to China. And it's not just Angela. The Italians did it as well. Other countries in Europe, the whole Belt and Road Initiative, they jumped on board. How'd that work out for Italy when they had all the direct flights to Wuhan? From Wuhan to Milan. How did that work out? Remember, Italy got hit first. Outside of China, who got hit first? Italy got hit hard. And again, in some of the areas they were at, demographics didn't bode well because they had a lot of an elderly population, and it was a nightmare there for a period of time. It's like a nightmare here, but anyway, this cozying up with China. Now they're starting to see that the Chinese are now conducting military exercises with Russia. And now they're starting to push back a little bit in Europe when it comes to China and what they're doing at this point in time. Again, it's the unbelievable how careless people can be. I bring it up all the time. I love my Godfather quotes, and is one that Vito Corleone's talking with Michael, and he makes the statement. He's talking about how he spends his life trying not to be careless. And he made that obviously not woke line. Women and children can be careless, but not men. And throughout the movie, you actually watch him and how calculating he is and trying to see several moves and things and what's going to happen down the road. Now, it's not always possible that you're able to, catch everything. But, how many times, you look at things and decisions that world leaders make, that our politicians make, and why would they do that? You see that it's going to be an issue. You see where there could be major problems. There could be unintended consequences. Again, I call the Capitol, that's the cathedral of unintended consequences. But it's not just our capital, it's capitals all around the globe. The World Economic Forum, that's the one, the Bond villains that meet every year in Davos. They're now suggesting that there are solid, rational reasons to put microchips in your kids. I'm sorry. I don't know where these people come from. It's like a movie. It's freaking dystopian, for crying out loud. Anybody out there actually put a microchip in their kid? They're trying to come up with reasons why this is a great idea. These people at Davos, all they want to do is control your lives in every way, shape, matter, or form. There was a blog post on the Davos Elite's website, which discusses the future of augmented reality and an augmented society. As scary, and I quote, as scary as chip implants may sound, they form part of a natural evolution that wearables once underwent. Hearing aids or glasses no longer carry a stigma. Did they ever carry a stigma? Did they? I don't know. George Washington had wooden teeth. Did that carry a stigma? Last time I checked, I think these things are not embedded. Your glasses aren't embedded in your body, nor can they be controlled by outside forces. They go on. They said they are accessories and even considered a fashion item. Likewise, implants will evolve into a commodity, suggesting that mainstream culture and influencers will be tapped to promote implantable chips as a trendy status symbol. Pushes the notion that augmented humans are inevitable and that global elites need to establish a power monopoly over the technology in order to ethically regulate it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to trust those jerks over at Davos. Not making this one up, and this shouldn't surprise anybody. New York Times op-ed, got a Yale professor and a Harvard professor that says that the United States Constitution is broken and needs to be thrown out. Yeah, what's interesting is that these were ideas that they were never really afraid to, they were afraid to actually come out and talk about these things in public. They're not afraid anymore. They're not. The broken and famously undemocratic U.S. Constitution stands in the way of real freedom and democracy. Are you kidding me? You know what? Why don't we go back and do it like the ancient Athenians did, and we just anybody who actually gets a seat gets to vote at that point in time. I mean, honestly, are you kidding me? Again, you take a look around, you take a look at what this country's accomplished, where we've come from, what we've been able to do. And these people, they want to destroy it all. We'll tear the whole damn thing down. One quick story before we go here. I was talking about this with my brothers yesterday. You know, you see stories in New York where, you know, this guy punches someone in the head. A guy is on a ventilator. He's in a hospital. And the guy gets let go. It's another reason why I don't go into the city anymore. I refuse to support any area that refuses to uphold the law. There was this story. UN diplomat from South Sudan followed a woman into her apartment and raped her twice. He gets arrested. And because he has diplomatic immunity, he was released. This I don't understand. And again, many might not like what I have to say here. So my brothers and I were saying the same thing. If anybody did something to hurt anyone that I cared about, that I loved, that is close to me, and they're going to be let go, whether it be by the police because of bail reform or whether it be like this guy because of diplomatic immunity, I take care of it myself. I'm sorry. So you know what? I admit it. I love vigilante justice. My favorite superhero of all time, Batman. I freaking love vigilante. You know what New York City needs? Batman. Watchdog on wallstreet.com.